Miami, 1995. A young man sits in a cramped apartment, staring at his wallet. Inside, $7. That's it. 7 single bills. Everything he owns in this world. He's just been cut from the Canadian Football League. His dream of playing in the NFL shattered. His girlfriend has left him. His future feels like a locked door with no key. He looks at his hands. These massive hands that were supposed to catch footballs, win championships, make his family proud. Now they feel useless. But in that moment of absolute rock bottom, something shifts inside him. Because Dwayne Johnson doesn't know it yet, but those same hands are about to build an empire. This is the story of a man who had $7 and a choice: to give up or to become legendary. Dwayne Douglas Johnson was born into wrestling royalty. His father, Rocky Johnson, was a professional wrestler. His grandfather, Peter Maivia, was a Samoan wrestling legend. You'd think that would make life easy. It didn't. Dwayne's childhood was chaos. His family moved constantly: Tennessee, Hawaii, California, Pennsylvania. 13 different schools by the time he was in 9th grade. They didn't have money. There were times his mother would cry because the electricity was shut off. Times they'd come home to find their belongings on the lawn, evicted again. He watched his mother, Ada, try to hold everything together with grace and grit. And he watched his father struggle in a brutal industry that chewed people up and spit them out. But young Dwayne was big, strong, athletic. Football became his escape. By high school, he was a star. A full scholarship to the University of Miami, playing defensive tackle for one of the greatest college football programs in history. He thought he'd made it. He thought the hard part was over. He was wrong. At Miami, Dwayne was good, but not great. He was on a team with future NFL superstars: Warren Sapp, Ray Lewis, names that would become legends. Dwayne, he was a backup. An injury his sophomore year derailed his progress. He watched from the sidelines as his teammates got drafted into the NFL. But he still held on to hope. He signed with the Calgary Stampeders in the Canadian Football League. This was his shot, his last chance to prove he belonged. 2 months later, they cut him. Just like that, his football career was over. He flew back to Miami with nothing. No job, no plan, no future. He moved back in with his parents. A grown man, 23 years old, sleeping in his childhood bed. Depression set in like fog. He'd watch TV and see his old teammates on ESPN, playing in the NFL, living his dream. And he'd think, what happened to me? His girlfriend left. She couldn't see a future with a man who had no future. $7 in his pocket. $7 between him and absolute zero. He'd drive past his old high school football field and just sit there in the car, wondering where it all went wrong. The pressure was suffocating. His father had been a wrestler, sure, but Dwayne wanted to be his own man, to make it on his own terms. But now, he had no terms, no leverage, no options. One night, driving on a Florida highway, he saw his mother pulled over on the side of the road. She was crying, trying to walk into traffic. The financial stress, the pain of watching her son suffer, it had broken her. Dwayne pulled over, held her, pulled her back from the edge. In that moment, he made a promise. He would never let his family suffer like this again. He would find a way. Dwayne called his father. "I want to wrestle." Rocky Johnson wasn't sure. He knew how brutal the business was, how it destroyed bodies and families. But he also saw the fire in his son's eyes. So he trained him. Not gently, not with mercy. He trained him the old way, the painful way, the way that separates dreamers from workers. Dwayne would wake up at 4 a.m., train for hours, then work construction jobs to pay the bills, then train again at night. His body ached. His spirit wavered, but he didn't quit. In 1996, he signed with the WWE. They gave him a character, Rocky Maivia, a smiling, wholesome baby face that honored his father and grandfather. The fans hated him. They chanted, "Rocky sucks. Die, Rocky, die." It was humiliating. He was failing again, in front of millions. But this time, Dwayne didn't run. He got angry. He got real. He ditched the character they gave him and became someone authentic. Someone raw, charismatic, unapologetically bold. He became The Rock, and everything changed. The crowd that once booed him now roared for him. His catchphrases became cultural phenomena. "Can you smell what The Rock is cooking?" echoed through arenas. He wasn't just a wrestler anymore. He was electricity in human form. He won championship after championship, became the biggest star in WWE history. But he didn't stop there. While others would have stayed comfortable, The Rock had a bigger vision. He wanted Hollywood, and Hollywood didn't want him. He auditioned, got rejected, was told wrestlers can't act, that he'd never be taken seriously. But he remembered the $7, the depression, the moment he almost lost his mother. He remembered what it felt like to have nothing. So he took small roles, played the Scorpion King, got paid $5.5 million for it, a world record for a first-time leading actor. And then he just kept working, harder than everyone, longer than everyone. 4 a.m. workouts became his religion. Discipline became his identity. While others rested, he trained. While others complained, he executed. Year after year, film after film. Today, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is one of the highest-paid actors in the world. He starred in billion-dollar franchises, built businesses, inspired millions. But ask him about his proudest moment, and he won't talk about money or fame. He'll talk about his mother, about buying her a house, surprising her with a car, making sure she never has to worry again. He'll talk about his daughters, about teaching them resilience and kindness, about building a life where his family never feels the fear he once felt. The man who once had $7 now has hundreds of millions. But it's not the money that defines him. It's the journey. From football failure to wrestling icon. From Hollywood reject to global superstar. From rock bottom to The Rock. He didn't just rise. He transformed. And he did it by outworking everyone. By refusing to accept limits. By turning pain into power. Here's what The Rock's life teaches us. Rock bottom isn't the end. It's the foundation. When Dwayne had $7, he didn't have money. But he had something more valuable. He had hunger. He had heart. He had the willingness to rebuild. See, most people quit when life knocks them down. They see failure as a sign to stop. But the great ones? They see failure as information. They see it as redirection. The Rock didn't become great because life was easy. He became great because life was hard and he refused to stay down. He took the rejection, the depression, the loss, and turned it into fuel. That's the choice we all have. When you lose the job, when the relationship ends, when the dream dies, you can sit there with your $7 and feel sorry for yourself. Or you can look at those $7 and say, this is my starting point, not my ending. Dwayne teaches us that your circumstances don't define you. Your response does. He teaches us that work, real work, daily relentless work, is the bridge between who you are and who you want to become. He teaches us that the people who love you are worth fighting for. That success means nothing if the ones who stood by you in the darkness don't get to see the light. So if you're in your own $7 moment right now, remember this. You're not broken. You're being built. Every setback is a setup. Every failure is a lesson. Every closed door is just God saying, not that way, this way. The Rock didn't become The Rock by accident. He became The Rock by showing up, by grinding, by believing in himself when no one else did. And if he can go from sleeping on a mattress in a tiny apartment to becoming one of the most recognized humans on Earth, then what's your excuse? Your $7 moment is coming. Or maybe it's already here. The question is, what are you going to build with it? Because the world doesn't need another person who gave up when it got hard. The world needs you to become legendary. So get up, put in the work, and show them what you're made of.